Here's something that might surprise you. One poorly defined word in your interior design contract could cost you a whole load of money in unpaid work. And that one word is revisions. Now look, most interior designers think that they're covering themselves really well when they write something along the lines of includes 2 revisions in their contracts. But in fact, this can leave them open to some serious headaches later on in the project. The phrase 2 revisions is really open to interpretation. So does it mean, for example, 2 small swaps of FF&E, or does it mean 2 entire redesigns? Now, those are very different things. In this video, I'm breaking down exactly how to define project revisions in your contracts so that you stop losing money, protect your time, and maintain professional boundaries with clients. Now, sadly, I've seen so many designers burn out because they're constantly running around doing unpaid work because they haven't clarified their revisions. Now, I've spent a lot of years helping interior design businesses to write their contracts carefully to make sure that they're protected. So if you've ever found yourself trapped in endless rounds of changes with a client and you're not sure how to handle revision requests professionally, this video could really help save your business. I'm Kate Hatherall, and here at the Interior Designers Hub, we teach people how to get qualified as interior designers and then how to set up, grow and run successful interior design businesses. So if you're looking to strengthen your interior design business systems and to know the steps to take to grow a successful business, then make sure to download our business roadmap to find out the essential steps you need to take to build and grow a profitable practice. The link's in the description below. So here's a scenario that happens all too commonly. You present your beautiful living room design to your client. They love most of it, but they want to change the sofa, swap out a couple of cushions and try a different coffee table. Well, that's just one revision, right? They ask. Now you kind of look at that and you think, well, it's not really, but okay, 3 simple swaps. And so you reluctantly agree. But here's the problem. Sometimes changing those key pieces might mean that you basically have to redesign the entire room. So it could be the new sofa changes the scale relationships, or a different colour affects your cushion choices, or the coffee table just doesn't fit in with your original accessory selection. Now 2 weeks later, you've gone on and you've created 3 completely different design schemes to make sure that everything works cohesively together. But essentially, you've just done triple the work for the same fee that you quoted for one design. Now, this is what I call the multiplication problem. And honestly, it costs designers hundreds, sometimes even thousands of pounds. And it's simply because their contract doesn't define what a revision actually means. So your client will come to you and in their defense, they think they're just making simple swaps. It's a bit like where they go shopping online and you can just click on some different options. But you as the designer know that interior design just doesn't work like that. So when you change one anchor piece, it can affect everything else. The colour palette, the scale relationships, the balance of textures and so on. So what started out as a 15-hour design project for you can become 45 hours of work, because essentially what you're doing is creating multiple complete schemes. And of course you're doing all of this extra work for free because in fairness, your contract did say includes 2 revisions. Now, honestly, even experienced designers fall into this trap because this sort of scope creep kind of happens without you realising. So first you agree to source an alternative sofa, but then you realise that the new sofa scale changes the coffee table requirements and the different proportions affect the rug size. And before you know it, you're actually starting from scratch, but still working under your original fee. Now, the good news is that this problem is completely preventable by making sure that you've got clear contract language. So there are 3 different approaches that you can choose from, and obviously it's up to you to work out which is going to be the best for your business. So option 1 is a percentage-based revision. So what you do is you define minor revisions as changes to something like less than 20% of the design elements, whereas major revisions are changes to 20% or more. So swapping out a few accessories at that point becomes genuinely different from changing the entire colour scheme or key pieces of furniture. Now, you might want to include 1 or 2 minor revisions in your base fee, whilst major revisions are going to trigger your hourly rate, for example, for additional work. Now, you obviously want to be specific in your contract here, and it's also a good idea to give examples. So you could say, for example, Minor revisions include changing one or two accessories or adjusting paint colours within the same colour family. Alright, now another option is to do it by concept-based revisions, and this is probably my personal favourite because what it does is it actually captures changes to the project right at the start. So you specify that your 2 revisions means 2 opportunities to refine the overall design concept before any detailed sourcing or specification begins. Now under this definition, what you do is you design an overarching concept that may include some example items of FF&E that gives an overall look and feel rather than being a detailed design. So at this point, if the client is not happy with the design direction, then you can easily change the concept without having spent hours and hours on detailed design and detailed specification. Now a third option is time-based revisions. So you simply allocate specific hours for revision work. So something like the project includes up to 8 hours of revision work with additional requests beyond that charged at your hourly rate. Now this approach is really good because it helps clients to understand the value of your time, and it gives you flexibility to handle different types of changes without all of that complex categorization going on. But here's the real secret that most designers miss. Actually, the best strategy isn't about protecting yourself from revision scope creep, it's actually about preventing excessive revisions in the first place. So most revision problems actually stem from inadequate consultation at the beginning. If you really understand your client's preferences, lifestyle, and their expectations right at the start, then your initial concept should hit much closer to the mark. Now that means that in that consultation you need to go beyond asking about colour preferences, really explore how they use their space, find out what inspires them, what they absolutely love and hate. The more that you thoroughly understand your client up front, the fewer revisions you're likely to need further on down the line. So here's some things for you to do right now. Firstly, review your current contract language around revisions. If it's vague or undefined, you could be setting yourself up for problems. Secondly, choose one of those 3 approaches that I've outlined and make sure that you're writing specific language that explains what you mean. And it's a good idea to include examples so that clients know exactly what to expect. Thirdly, make sure that you're investing enough time in your consultation process. So ask these deeper questions. Some people like to use comprehensive questionnaires, but you really want to understand what your clients want before you even begin designing. And finally, when clients do request additional changes that fall outside of their allowance, address it professionally and immediately. So you can say something like, yeah, sure, I'm more than happy to explore those changes for you. Based on our agreement, of course, that's going to fall outside of your included revisions in your contract, so I'll prepare a change order for the additional time that's going to be required. Now remember, although it can feel a bit awkward, enforcing your contract terms isn't about being difficult, it's about maintaining those professional standards that honestly, they're the ones that enable you to deliver the quality work. And if you're ready to build stronger business systems for your interior design practice, then grab our free business roadmap. You'll find the link in the comments below. The roadmap covers all of the essential steps for building and growing a profitable interior design business. Now, if you've liked this video and find it helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. I share practical tips for interior designers and interior design students every week, and this helps you to build a profitable practice with proper systems and boundaries in place. So grab yourself that business roadmap now, and I'll see you next time.